People say I ain't no good, and I'm crazy as a loon. Cause I shave my head in the morning, pick guitar in the afternoon. Just like old Chief and Charlie, I like to lay around in the shade. Well, I ain't got no money, but you better believe I got it made. Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. If you don't like the way I'm living, just leave this bald-headed country boy alone.
Just want to thank all the March sponsors for the Josh Terry podcast before we get started. Cottonfield Grill, Backroad Park and Event Venue, Lori's Dive-In, Seth, my dude over at Down Yonder Hatco, Mr. Dustin Smith, his chiropractic office over in Eastman. Make sure you check them out. Miss Kimley's Insurance, thank you for letting us stay with y'all the other day. Very much appreciate it. Project K9 Hero, Jason Johnson and them, look them up now. Ron Quick and Miss Sophia at Cashman's and Sophia's and the library, all located in Macon, Georgia. Go to Facebook now and look up Blazer88. My dude, Mr. Josh Ward and Brandon over there. It's a great veteran organization. Go check them out now. And don't forget about our OnlyFans Girl of the Month, Miss Missy. We got 2 more that's going to be jumping on here that we're going to advertise for too. They just haven't sent me their stuff yet, so this ad will change. And don't forget about my dude, Mr. Bubba Marlboro, with hashtag 601 Roofing King. Just thank everybody that's involved. I know some of the sponsors didn't get mentioned on this one, but we haven't finalized your stuff yet because you haven't sent it to me. So once we do, we'll be sure to include you in the next episode. Now, let's enjoy the show. What's up, folks? Thank y'all for tuning into the Josh Terry podcast. It has been a crazy week. Please, y'all keep downloading Gone for Good by Will Mosley. Hell, we might have a number 1 right now, and I just not know it because I'm actually doing my real job instead of taking care of Will's big punk ass. Love you, Will. Y'all please keep downloading and streaming it. Today, I've got somebody that's been on the show before. It's probably been about 2 years now. She has an amazing story. She's really inspirational. I remember when we got done doing the show with her the first time, I was like, damn, that's a badass. And just everything I've seen with her on social media since then, hell, might even developed a little crush on you, to be honest with you. But Miss Natalee King, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. Thank you for coming to hang out with me for a little bit.
Not a problem. We can chat.
You look like you have the most fun. Like when you're smiling with like your family and everything, it's like, fuck, I'm living wrong, dude.
My family is so fun. I love hanging out with my family. You know, I have Justin, who we're not married, but we've been together for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And we met in the throes of my addiction. If you remember my story, I was an addict for many years, and he saved my life. And then, you know, I spend a lot of time with my mom and my brother, sister-in-law, stuff like that. So they're really fun.
Well, you better tell him if he don't marry you soon, I'm going to. It's over with. I'm adopting you. I'm just taking you in. We're just gonna keep you.
I'll have to let him know that.
Yeah. It was funny though, because I try to keep up with the people that's been on the show, the ones that I actually like, that I think have substance, that are making a difference in other people's lives. I kind of really do keep up with them. And keeping up with you like the past 2 years has been cool. One thing I got to ask you about, because it tickled me, and I'm sure it wasn't funny to you at all, but I guess y'all just went on a vacation recently, and you got like pink eye on vacation or whatever, right?
Oh my gosh.
That looked like it was the fucking worst, dude.
It was so bad, and I had to travel like 24 hours with it. It moved to like my other eye, so it was in both my eyes. And you know where I got it from?
Where?
I know it was because I held a monkey, and I'm pretty sure that's how it happened.
Yeah.
It was bad though.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
You know me, I had to make a funny video out of it.
Oh, you
I
have
had
to. If I get pink eye tomorrow, I promise you, but I'm big on like putting the worst of your life out there, the bad shit. If you're going to work in social media, it can't be all roses.
It
So
can't
like,
be. You have to. People will dig up your past,
oh
So
yeah,
if you're the
dude.
first one to throw it out there, they ain't got nothing to say.
Well, that's controlling the narrative. Like there's so many
Mm,
people that want to, they think just because somebody works in social media that they are somebody works in entertainment or a singer, songwriter, actor, or whatever. They think that like you're supposed to be held to a higher regard because our lives are public compared to theirs, and that's really fucking stupid to me. Like
right.
everybody makes mistakes, everybody goes through their trials. Like to hold somebody else
That's,
accountable when you're not holding yourself accountable is stupid to me. So
mhm.
controlling the narrative if you are in this type of lifestyle is huge. Like you have to, that way they don't get a chance to like just be a dick. They don't get a
Right.
chance to even make an ass out of you if you go ahead and make an ass out of yourself first.
Exactly. That's what I always say. I'm like, try to hurt me. I dare you. I already put all my shit out there. So,
Well, you
you
you've
know,
been through enough to where you probably should have thick ass skin by now.
I do. I have real thick skin. I really
Yeah.
do.
The fact that
Uh,
you even post like the videos and stuff that you do from when you were an addict.
mm, it
Like,
was
yeah,
it was hard at
yeah,
first to post that stuff. It was hard for me to look at.
I
For
bet, dude.
years, Josh, for years I couldn't look at those videos and pictures. I
Yeah,
couldn't look at them.
I don't know how you did. I know I talk about like mental health on this show like all the time, but like I'm a suicide survivor from like 24 or 2010, excuse me. And like one of the
Wow.
hardest days of my life, but it was something I had to do was I had to put my story out like in 2015 or 16. And it wasn't for to get sympathy or anything like that. It was like everybody already kind of knows about this anyway in my small town. Like, why not just go ahead and put the whole fucking thing out there? And if people want to be ugly, they want to be ugly. But it was the complete opposite reaction. There was people reaching out like, "Hey, I've been struggling with this my whole life. I've done this. Thank you for sharing. It gave me inspiration to not
Yes.
feel alone and all this kind of shit." So like it's something that I feel like if you with the stuff you've gone through with drug addiction, stuff that I've been through, anybody's going through anything right now, I always say that that's your reason in life. Like you knew, like God knew that you had to go through that shit to understand your purpose in life. And it
Right.
sucks sometimes. It really fucking sucks. But the fact that you are posting that stuff and it's probably making people take a look in the mirror if they're
Hmm.
struggling with it, or it makes them proud that they're not there anymore. So I think it's
Yes.
wonderful what you do.
Thank you. It wasn't easy at first to share all that, but it was worth it. And same as you, like I got the opposite reaction. Like I didn't share this. Like I'm telling you, my sister, she died in 2008. My husband died in 2013, and then my dad passed away in 2021. And I started my TikTok after my dad died.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it for sympathy. It was years later, I was already healed and at peace. And I just kind of wanted to show people that there is a way out of this trauma if they've been through it too. And it blew up and people were so inspired by it. So I kept sharing my life and my trials and tribulations. And a lot of people can relate to them. And that if I can inspire or save one life, then I did my purpose. So
Yeah,
that's what it all means.
yeah, I have to tell people all the time, like if you're too focused on trying to save the world, you're going to actually forget to focus on the one thing that you're supposed to be working towards. Like you can't save everybody. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that get wrapped up in it. Like when my social media and stuff took off and back in the days when I worked in radio and all that good shit, I thought I had to put everybody's burdens on me. Like I thought that everybody that would reach out about something with mental health, like I thought I had to take the weight off of their shoulders and put it on mine. And it fucking damn near crippled me. It drove me insane. I wore a good smile with it and like really drove through it. But like I realized, like if I'm really focusing on all these people, and some of them, unfortunately, and you probably know this better than anybody, they're full of shit. Like
Mm,
some of them just want attention. Like
yes.
I could see like in your case, somebody smoking weed for one time and them being like, "Oh, I'm an addict. I really need help." And it's like, no, you're not. Go the fuck away. Like you want somebody to fucking pander to you, and I'm not going to pander to you. And
It's
But
true.
by doing some of that, by pandering to certain people, you kind of forget the ones that really need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm really not focused anymore on helping a massive amount of people. I think the people that come in my life, the good Lord is going to bring in, and he's going to make it obvious who I'm supposed to be
Yes.
trying to help.
See, I get messages all day of people in addiction that need help or mental health help, same thing. And I really have to protect my mental health. I
Yeah.
can't answer everybody. I just can't. I kind of have a system of how I answer messages, and I have to protect my mental health. So I
Yeah.
can't respond to everybody, but if I feel in my gut that I should respond, like God is telling me to respond or whatever, I will. And usually it's, a good thing.
Yeah.
But when I can't, I don't know how I pick and choose who I respond to, but it's just like a feeling.
It's
I
probably
don't know.
obvious.
It is, but a lot of it is repetitive. So like
Yeah.
I don't know how I choose like this person's message over this person's. I don't know. The only way I can explain it is like it's like a feeling like I should respond.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had this conversation with a girl that used to kind of work for me like 2 weeks ago. And it was where like she was pissed at me, dude, like super, super mad because she said I wasn't being a good friend anymore. And it was where like I had to have this full, long out, lengthy conversation with her that was like, look, I'm protecting my mental health. I know that you're fine. Like, you don't need me. At some point in time, like you can be there and you know this probably better than anybody. You can't help somebody till they want it. And when you see certain messages from certain people, and I'm not talking about this girl because I know she's going to listen to this, so this does not
Mhm.
fucking apply to you. But from other people, random people messaging us or whatever, it's almost like there's keywords or there's key phrases on how somebody says something to where you're like, you're not ready to help yourself yet. So I'm not going to help
Yep.
you.
Yep.
But
You
there's
can
also,
you can tell.
yeah. But there's also the
Yes.
other side of that to where there's certain phrases or even sometimes things that somebody doesn't say that I need to invest my time in this person.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep, I feel the same way. I get a lot of messages like that, and it's hard to pick and choose. Like I want to help everybody, but you
Yeah,
just can't.
you can't. It's just so unrealistic.
Yeah.
Uh and it's hard. It's hard to tell somebody or not even tell them because I'm sure you're probably well, I'm not gonna speak for you. I'm gonna speak for me. It's not that I'm gonna tell somebody that I'm not gonna help them. I'm just probably not gonna say nothing. But like with my sister was a bad addict for a long time. And god damn, when you get tired of saying something to them, you know that it's going in one ear out the other. And when they're ready, you'll know. But
Yeah.
until then, like you gotta protect yourself. I'm sure that some of your family members have probably told you this at some point in time, or some of your loved ones. And it's like, look, we loved you to death, but you wasn't ready to be there for yourself, so we couldn't be there for you.
Absolutely.
And that's
Yes.
where
Yeah.
like I'm at with some of these people that message me or whatever, or come up to me in public. It's like, God damn, I want to be there for you. But the fact that you have a beer in your hand right now, and
You
this
have
is
to take it
yeah,
seriously.
yeah,
You have to. If you want help, you have to take it seriously. And who's going to take you seriously if you're, like you said, you have a beer in your hand and you're
yeah,
all fuckered up?
yeah.
Then
Trust me.
what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go up to somebody while I'm shit faced and be like, "Hey, I think I need to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I think I need to go to AA right
A
now."
lot of people do that though. A lot of addicts do that.
Yeah,
That's when they reach out and they'll say something. Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote you when I was all messed up.
yeah,
I'm okay now.
yeah.
I'm like, but are you really?
No,
You can't
they
help
probably
that
they're
person.
probably not. Yeah. I feel like like me, I'm hard headed as fuck, dude. Like I wish I'd learned lessons the easy way in life, but I don't. There's nothing that's ever came in my life that I've learned the easy way that it probably stuck around. So like I feel like with me and the majority of people that I know, like you got to hit rock bottom. Like it's you got to be at rock bottom, and you have to make a conscious decision while you're at rock bottom. I don't want to live this way no more.
Yeah.
And if you know that there's no lower that you can go besides a grave, like that'll do something to you. That'll teach you lessons that the top never will.
And that is so true. You will learn more from rock bottom than you ever will
Yeah.
from being on top. And everyone's rock bottom is different, but rock bottom everyone's is different, but it's also the same, because rock bottom is when you finally decide that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired living that way. That's rock bottom. When you decide I can't live this way anymore,
Mm-hmm.
that's rock bottom. And everyone's looks different.
Oh yeah, dude. Like it's rough. Uh and trying to convince somebody that's not there yet. Like I've got buddies that I don't know the technical definition of an alcoholic. Me, like I know my dad's one because he drinks every single day. Like it's not that he wakes up and says, "Oh, I got to have a beer," but by the end of every day, he's probably got a good solid buzz. Me, I thought I was borderline for a while, but I'm more of like I like a good time, and it just was like I would start looking for good times. If I could go have a good time and not drink, I would go have a good time and not drink. But where
Right.
I live, there's just not fucking nothing to do besides go to bars, laugh, cut up, catch a buzz. And with me, it's like, damn, if I can go 3 or 4 weeks now and not have a single drink, like I stopped looking for excuses to drink probably like the middle of last year. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna get fucked up sometimes. I got a whole celebration thing tomorrow night. I'll get hammered then, and I'm in Nashville recording all next week. I'll get drunk. But like, let's just say last night I had absolutely nothing to do. And I decided just to watch fucking movies. I decided just to cook me something good. I decided instead of paying a bar tab, that would have been stupid. I decided to go get something nice to cook and everything to where, like, I don't think that's the definition of an alcoholic. But there's
Right.
some of my buddies that, like, they're so borderline or so close to it. It's like, I know that these guys are going to have the darkest day of their life
I know.
before they ever come around.
And I know a lot of people like that, and people that I love like that with alcohol. And they're binge drinking alcoholics.
Yeah.
And there's different levels to alcoholism, and addiction in general. There's different levels to it, different types of addicts, different types of alcoholics too. And they explain this in the big book of AA and
Mm-hmm.
NA and stuff, the different
Did you go through
alcohol.
AA or just NA?
So they're basically almost the same thing.
Yeah.
If you go to an AA meeting and you are using drugs, you just put the word drug in place of the alcohol,
Okay.
word.
I got
So
you.
it's basically the same thing, but NA is more for narcotics, and
Yeah.
it's a group and a community of people that use like the same stuff. But if you can go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and still be a drug addict, but yeah, I did AA and NA many years ago, and I read the big book, but that's not how I got sober my 10th time I tried. I don't know. I got sober by my own recovery, to be honest, the last time. So yeah, it's been rough. And even in my recovery, dude, recovery, you think once you get sober or in recovery or whatever you want to call it, that life will be so easy and
Yeah.
simple. And it's not, even if you do everything right, it will still spit in your face. Like I was 3 years in recovery when my dad shot himself in the head and lived. And I was like, dude, how do you get through how do you
Yeah.
like cope with something like that? And thankfully I was in the right mindset to not go back to my old ways. But for people have to learn what to do when trauma comes. Like trauma is going to happen in life, so you have to prepare for it. So you might as well start now, start with your mental health, even if everything's fine and dandy right now.
Well, I think a lot of people miss out on the fact that you need to be mentally tough and you need to be prepared.
Mhm.
A lot of people probably call me morbid. for this fact that I'm under the assumption, and this is so fucked up. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show. I am under the assumption that everybody I love is going to die, like to enjoy them now. Like if I love you and care about you, I'm not waiting till tomorrow to tell you I love you or I care about you. I'm not waiting till tomorrow to even live my life. And there's just so many people that they take that for granted.
Yes, they do. I see it every day, Josh.
Yeah,
it breaks my heart.
Yeah, they just don't get it. They don't get it. And to think about the bad things, like what is it? What's that old saying? Like, wish for the best, but prepare for the worst.
For the worst, yeah.
Yeah, some shit like that. Like, but if you do that, if you are mentally prepared for the worst moments of your life and the things that you think are just going to be the greatest tragedies and traumatize you, if you're already come to terms with it before it ever happens, and hopefully God, it doesn't happen, like you're tougher. Like my mother, this is a whole fucking therapy session already today. My mom lost her mother when I think in 2001. My mom to this day has not recovered. Like, and blames everything that's ever bad happened to her since then on that. Like, oh my God, my mom died. Like, and I'm like, no, like she passed away, but she didn't make you make these fucking mistakes. Like you're mentally weak. And
right.
and that's all it is. You're looking for an excuse. And
so yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. So you have it's hard because like my mom and I are really close, and my mom and I talk about death a lot. I think about it a lot, and I think it's because of what I've went through in life and the people I've lost and the grief I've been through. But so I think, and I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I talk about it with my mom, and my mom and I are best friends. Yeah. Like I see her every single day. And I asked her one night, like, what am I going to do when you die? Like, what am I going to do? I don't know. And her response kind of settled me.
Yeah.
And she said, honey, you're going to be just fine. And she goes, just remember that I lived a long, good life. And this is the cycle of life, and this is how life goes. And so every time, an older person passes, like even my dad, even though he wasn't that old, he was 64. Even though he wasn't that old, I knew he was going to die because he had ALS, and I prepared myself for that. So it kind of was a softer blow. But like my sister's death, that was when I was 18 and I saw my sister's death. Like I didn't just, oh my gosh, I saw like everything that night. It was insane. The body bag they carried her down in, like, I will never forget that. I remember them unzipping her head, just her head, and my parents, my mom and dad were just crying and screaming, kissing all over her face, just both of them. I'll never get that image out of my head. And I remember like the next day driving on in Houston, I was on 45, and I was looking at every car that would drive by and all the people that were in it. And I'd think to myself, I wonder where they're going. And then this thought crossed my mind, and I was like, dude, every single person on this earth is going to die. I was 18 at this time. And it was like the very first time I really had that surreal connection to death, like realization, I guess, that it's going to happen to everybody. And like, it just, I don't know, it flipped a switch in my brain. And, but I guess I needed to learn more lessons, because when my husband was killed, God, I just thought just losing my sister and my husband made me so grateful for every single day. Once I healed past my addiction, it made me grateful. At first, of course, I didn't want to be alive, but once I got to healing, I found gratefulness in everything. And I see people take advantage of that every single day. And I wish so bad they could just feel a little bit of the pain of like that grief, or because grief is love, that love. just feel a little bit of it for a moment so they can be grateful for the rest of their lives. I don't want anybody to go through the pain that I felt, but maybe a
I think it's
smidgen of it
necessary.
wouldn't hurt.
I think it's necessary though. It's where
Mhm.
like people just once again it's a mindset. This isn't a dress rehearsal. You got one fucking go round. And there's too many folks that just don't realize that. Like it doesn't click in their head until it's too late.
Right.
There's people like you and me that take a tragedy or take something bad, and it reminds us to appreciate what we have, appreciate our life, to make the best of it, to make every day just fucking the absolute best of it. To where some people see a tragedy and it cripples them to where it kind of takes their life away too. And I would
Mhm.
imagine anybody that's been through the tragedy, if you were to be able to talk to somebody in heaven or hell, they'd be like, "Hey, just don't stop living. Just because I'm gone,
Mhm.
I don't want you to stop living. Like
So
I
true.
wish I was in your shoes, you know."
I know.
And that blows my mind. There's so many people to take it for fucking granted that are just
I
not.
know.
They're wasted life. Like there's people in my community, in your community, in every little fucking town across the country and across the world that they're literally just sitting there right now. And they're like, you know what I just want to do today?
I know.
Nothing. I don't want to make an impact on the world. I don't want to better my life. I
I
just
don't
want
want
to
to
sit here
travel.
and
I just
waller.
want to sit on my couch. I know.
Yeah,
I know many people like that.
yeah. Makes
They
no
don't
sense to
even
me.
leave the town that they were raised in.
Oh, don't get me started on that, boy.
So I
I
know, don't me
man,
neither.
fuck my town, like where I grew up in, is literally one town over. That's where I spent 20 years of my life. I'm 36. And I've got some buddies that I love to death. Like I best friends growing up. And they think, and like they've got good families. One of them's kind of in a bad situation. But the other ones have got good families. But it's like shit. You don't even know what's outside the county line. You don't even know what happiness is. You don't even know what you really enjoy in life because you've limited yourself to this one fucking town. Like,
Hmm.
go back on my mom, dude. My mom, I don't know if she's been out of the fucking city limits in
Wow.
30 goddamn years damn near. Like she doesn't go anywhere. Like how can you know what life is if you don't take trips like you did here
I know.
recently? Like, and it's not people want to be like, oh, I don't have the money or whatever. You know what you can do? You can go to so many parks. You can go to so many things and just go
Yes, you can.
fucking
And it's
walk.
free. They have
Yeah.
free stuff too, like in your area to
Yeah.
explore, like the beauty of your area,
Yeah.
even. I don't know. And I don't know. And you can also join the military to travel. That's what I
Yeah.
did. I wanted to travel, so I joined the military. I don't
Well,
know.
my thing isn't even really just the traveling. It's the how are you going to know what you love in life unless you experience life?
I know.
Like with me, I didn't know what I wanted till I was probably 27, 28 years old. I had no idea the man I wanted to be or anything
I
until,
still don't.
yeah. Well, the thing is, you can always change.
Exactly, you
Like,
can.
yeah, if you don't
I
like
feel
your
like
current situation, you can get in another one.
I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like almost I've lived like so many different lives
Yeah.
already in this 34 years. Like, I feel like every 10 years is like a new lifetime or something. Like, you can change I don't know.
It,
It's crazy to think about. I feel like I lived so many lives.
I don't think it's crazy at all. What's your favorite books? Are they short stories or are they chapter novels?
Chapter books. I read on my way to Japan, I read The Memoirs of a Geisha, which was
Yeah.
a really cool book. It gave me like the insight of Japan, of how it used to be. It was a really cool book. I really like that book a lot.
Well, the best books, the best movies are ones where you have seasons of change. Like you have
Exactly.
chapter books for a fucking reason because we're going to change. Like what is it like every 7 years or something? Our taste buds change if that's a real
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay, our bodies
If
and
it's
our
real, I don't
yeah,
know.
I've always heard that shit my whole life. I don't know. I might just be
Me
making
too.
it up if
No,
nobody
I
else has
heard
heard
it
that
too.
shit. But
I have.
like even if you just simplify it, and I love simplifying everything in my life to make all the complicated shit make sense. if our taste buds change every 7 years, and it's something as simple as our taste buds, doesn't that make sense that we are growing and changing mentally, physically, everything? You could be
Absolutely.
attracted to women this year, and next year you could be attracted to men. Like you have
Exactly.
seasons of change in your life, and there's no, we have free will. There's nobody telling you can't change. There's nobody telling you can't
Exactly.
change your life up.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree 100%.
Well,
It's wild.
it is. But if you fucking simplify all that shit, there's too many people that overcomplicate life. You were put here to live. You were not put
Yes.
here to work a fucking 9 to 5. You were not put here to make everybody else fucking money. You were put here to enjoy your life, love, laugh, experience life. And then when your time's up, your time's up. I don't want to be
Mm,
the person that spent my fucking whole life working it away. Now, kudos to
right.
anybody that does. Has got a great retirement plan. I'm gonna be broke as fuck when I'm old. I'm gonna have to do this shit or something the rest of my life because I have no end game plan. But what in my mind, what if I never get there?
I know. I felt the same way, like people when my husband passed, I the military gave me a large sum of money and I didn't want it. I was so mad that they even gave it to me. I was like, I want my husband here. Like I would
Yeah.
rather live under a bridge and have him here than have all the money in the world
Hmm.
and not have him here. You know what I mean? So like people, I don't know. You don't get it unless you're in the position. And it's death is so heartbreaking. I think of, do you ever, I heard of like this lady, I watch like near death
Yeah.
experiences and a lady, a spiritual lady who, tries to understand the world. But she says that earth is like a school for your soul.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's the most difficult school that your soul will ever go to. But everything that you go through life is a lesson, and everyone that you meet and have a relationship with, good or bad, is a lesson, and it's to educate you and prepare you for death and the afterlife, for where your soul goes. And I just thought, I don't know, I think of that sometimes. I don't know what I like. It's weird. I don't know what I believe 100% because I don't believe anything 100%. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I like to hear perspectives like that. It gives me some closure, some peace.
Yeah.
So
That to me, that's faith. Whether it's faith in the universe, faith in God. I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one, but I'm a Christian. I love the good Lord. He loves me, and I don't care what anybody fucking says about it. Because I feel like I'm the only person that can say that statement I just said with fuck in it after saying I'm a Christian. But the good Lord knows my heart. And with me, first off, I think you're supposed to question. I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning. I think that whatever higher power you believe in, they would have made us fucking zombie like and just following them with no hesitation if that's what they wanted. I think we're supposed to question things, but I think we're supposed to question things so we have a better understanding of what we really believe in. So, like with me, I could sit here and have a great conversation with an atheist, with a Satanist, with a Muslim, with a Buddhist, whoever, whatever walk of life, I could talk to you. And all I'm going to do by talking to you, I'm not going to force my views on you. But anytime I've had those conversations, it's reinforced my faith and why I believe in what I believe in. And if I
yes,
wouldn't have been open minded to talk to them and see why they believe in what they believe in, I wouldn't have been. I'm a better Christian because of those conversations. I don't care what anybody fucking says.
I agree with that. And you might have even changed their perspective on things
Yeah.
by making them question things.
Well, if I
But I
did,
don't know.
great. But if I don't, like it's I'm I'm such a weird person when it comes to religion. Like I don't believe in organized religion. I think it's
Me
turned so
too.
many people off. It's turned me off before. I think it's supposed to be your personal relationship with God, and outside of that,
Mhm.
I don't give a shit what anybody says. I think the Bible, and this is all religious books, by the way, for any of y'all, for y'all come at my ass. There's no way that man hasn't manipulated those books over time to fit their
Of
narrative.
course.
Like
Of course.
history is not wrote by the person who's right or wrong.
Hmm.
History is wrote by the victor. And
Hmm.
some of the victors that we've had have been pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Like if Hitler would have won World War II, our history would be completely fucking different.
Hmm.
Like if you
Very
even if you
true.
go to Russia or anywhere over there and you get their depiction of what happened during World War II and all that kind of shit, completely different than what we've ever been taught. Now,
Right.
who's right and who's wrong? You don't know. You didn't live it. You're going off of a book and what people were told then that wasn't necessarily there and saw everything. So like
Right.
I think the commonality between all religions, between spiritual people, is where you're talking about with the soul thing. This is not our last plane of existence.
Hmm.
I believe there is a heaven and hell, and I know where I'm going, and I'm good with it. And I do think that this is just a temporary thing. I think this is almost where this is lining you up for your forever job. Like you're in, like I like how they said that, or you said with the school and everything. But like
Yeah.
I feel like this is college. Like we're going through college right now to have eternity.
Absolutely. I think of that often. And I'm just I try to wonder, what is it preparing me for, but you never know, of course, but I do like to question that. And I'm with you, Josh, like when it comes to religion and stuff, like I believe in God and I have my own relationship with God and I pray every day. Sometimes in the middle of the day, if I just am feeling grateful, I just say thank you, God, real
Yeah,
quick, under my breath or something, and go about my day. But like, I don't go to church on
I
Sundays.
don't
You know what
either.
I mean? I don't read my Bible every day. I don't.
I can't read the Bible. I don't understand it. Like
I don't either,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah, I don't like. I get once again. This is where people be fucking mad at me. I don't even know if we're supposed to read it. I think that it's almost where you have to take the good with the bad. You can't pick and choose. Like there's so many people, especially I live like you live in the South too, but growing up, if you were gay for what lesbian or whatever, like, and you went to a church, you got belittled. Like they
Yeah.
didn't want you there. And my
Right.
God ain't that act that way.
No.
And there's still people that literally focus on every word of the Bible that fits them. And then
Right.
they fuck up and they completely forget all the other stuff that they're doing. They're like, oh, I'm just going to ignore this. Like, no, you can't. If you're going to go word for word, then go word for word. Me, I think it is how do I put this? I think it's a guidebook on
Hmm.
how to be a good person. And it gives you stories on people doing good deeds. But I don't think you're expected to do all those good deeds. I don't think that's part of your story. Because the one commonality across all religions is, hey, be a good person, love thy neighbor, don't do fucking stupid shit to each other.
Hmm.
And that's where I lose a lot of people. I'm not going to sit there and read a story that doesn't apply to me. Like
Right.
this doesn't make sense in my life. Like I'm not fitting to end up in a belly of a whale. I get the story
Right.
of the belly of the whale and all that kind of stuff with Jonah, but there's other stories in there that you got turned to a pillar of salt.
I
Okay,
know.
tell me how this applies to me now. Okay.
Or today's world in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
it doesn't. But I agree with you. Honestly, I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, where
Um,
I live, people, I start getting on that rant, and I'm
I
telling you,
just I just don't talk about it, I guess.
I like talking about it. It's the same way that you talking about you going through your addiction or go getting on the other side of addiction stuff with my mental health and stuff. We're not asking people to believe what we're saying. We're
Right.
just talking about it to where, hey, if you're an open-minded person, just listen. If it fits into your life or makes you think, that's great. If it makes you be like, ugh, I don't like this shit at all.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna listen to him no more. That's fine. You don't have to.
Right.
I'm not here to make everybody like me. I'm here to be
Right.
me. I'm here to be the authentic version of myself that I
Mhm.
think the good Lord allowed me to get here. If he
Absolutely.
wouldn't have let me got all through the bullshit and keep giving me little rewards along the way, if he didn't want me sitting right here right now. And I'm a big believer like there's preachers in this world and there's warriors. And warriors are the ones that are battle scarred. They're the ones that have been broken but got up and took another swing. They're the ones that show their scars, that show the chinks in their armor. that they don't want to be pretty. But in my mind, whether you're a warrior or a preacher and you have faith and you love God, like which one's worse? Like which one's better? Is it the person that just talks about going through addiction and they've never been through addiction? Or is it the warrior that actually went through it, came out, and they show their faith stronger? That's why, like, I love like bikers. I love all that kind of shit to where it's been a son of a bitch that has been at rock
Yes.
bottom, but kept their faith and they got stronger because of it. I think they're warriors.
I love that you said that. Like the people like bikers or just ex addicts and
Yeah.
ex addicts, like people that are rough around the edges and been down and out, like those are my people.
Oh, fuck yeah,
Like,
dude.
you know what I mean? Like they are non-judgmental. They accept you with open arms, whether
Mm-hmm.
you done XYZ. Like they're the best to have around.
You know,
They're the kindest people I've ever met, and I would rather be around, a group of recovering addicts,
yeah.
who, that look a little down and out than freaking a snotty. I don't know. You know what
Well,
I mean?
this is the only argument or case I ever make for what we're talking about right now. You think about when a kid gets sick in a community, and you got bikers, and you got a wealthy church. You see which one's going out doing a fucking toy drive or a bike ride
Yeah.
every weekend, who are giving their last dollar. They might have $100 in their bank account, and they're gonna give $100 to this
Mm-hmm.
kid, to where you got somebody over here that's sitting in a fat ass, almost $1 million home. They're driving the fattest car in the community. Yeah, they might write $100 check for a charity, but they could have wrote a fucking $100,000 check. There's something to where,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're giving so little, but then you're like, oh, here, I'm helping the community. You know what you could do? You could
Yeah.
fucking help a lot more. This person gave all. One
Mm-hmm.
gave some, and it's usually the one that has been at the bottom, that's the fucking scarred one, is going to give it all because they know what it's like. They also know that they're going to bounce back. If they do give that $100,
Right.
they're going to bounce the fuck back. They don't need it. Yeah,
Because
those are my fucking people, dude.
me too. Me too. It's funny. I'm glad you said that because I had someone tell me recently, like, they met some of our like hold on, I'm sorry.
Are you good?
Friends back home, and they said, oh, I'm sorry,
Are
Josh.
you good?
They said, yeah, it was fun, but the people that you guys, your old friends, they're kind of like trashy, is
Yeah.
what someone said to me. And it kind of offended me.
Yeah.
Like, those are my friends that I've known for years. And even if they are a little rough around the edges, like, you haven't, like, I don't know, like, who are you to say that
Who are
about
you to judge
people?
them? Yeah.
Judge them, right? When you don't know half the shit they've been through. I do, I know
Yeah.
what they've gone through. I know what kind of life they've led and were raised up in. And I don't know, it offended me when I heard that statement. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it that people think that way, about
It's
others.
weird, dude. It's really weird that we live in a world, or we live in a society, where the fuck you want to call it, to where you look at someone and you base everything off of their outward appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there have been women that I'm extremely good friends with. We have OnlyFans girls on the show like all the time. I adore them because most of them are way more than ass and tits. They're just really
Mm-hmm.
fucking smart. They have figured out a way to get rich doing now I'm not gonna say the littlest amount of work, but getting to stay home with their youngins and all this other, like, they're
Right.
making life-changing money, the ones that we hang out with. And I've seen these girls go out in public and they'll wear shit that, God, I would be considered lingerie for me. Like, it's behind closed doors type of shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see people look at them and judge them. And they have no idea that it doesn't matter how much they drink or how good of a time they're having. They're not, just because they're dressed like that, they're not picking up some random
Mm-hmm.
guy and taking them back. Like, they're a good fucking person. Same
Yeah.
thing goes with I wear trashy shit every day. I am a
Yeah.
big cutoff and fucking blue jeans and boots guy. That's if it's warm, you can damn sure bet that's what I got on. And people would look at me where I'm from, and they'd be like, "This guy definitely is just he's undereducated. He's fucking probably is broke as fuck. Like he just looks like trash." And it's like, why would you have a predetermined notion of
I
me from
know.
my outer appearance? Like whether it's the
People
cl-
have judged me
weird.
too a lot too. I get it all the time as well. I mean,
Well,
people tell me, oh, if you didn't have those pictures and videos of you in addiction, I would have never believed that you're an addict.
yeah.
And I'm like, addiction doesn't discriminate,
Well,
like it can happen to anybody.
oh, fucking
I don't know.
anybody, dude. I think it's a testament the way you look now, though. Like I think that it's I love people. Like I think I probably told you this on the first show. I hate that you ever went through everything you went through. I it breaks my heart that you or anybody else has been through that kind of stuff. But I always say this to everyone who's had a lot of trauma in their life that are doing real good now. Like, would you be the person that you are now, doing the good that you're doing and helping people without those things?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
it's all in how when we have those things that happen to us in our life. It's all how we view it. I don't think you have failures anymore. Like I used to literally focus on every negative thing that happened to me. Like, and it was so bad for my mental health. It was just bad for my well-being. But
Hmm.
when you stop thinking of everything bad happening to you as a failure and you start thinking of it as a learning experience, what
Yeah,
not to do, like it changes everything in your
that's what I
life.
do. Yep. I'm like, what is this supposed to be teaching me? What
Yeah.
is this supposed to be teaching me?
Well,
That's what I always say to myself.
like everybody's looking for their purpose in life, right? Everybody
Yeah.
wants their purpose. But to me, what if you are your purpose? What if everything that happened to you was supposed to happen to you and it made you who the person that you were supposed to be? You're
Right.
literally, not to go back to the religion thing or spiritual shit too much, but like what if all that made you the person that you were supposed to be to where you helped that one fucking person
Right.
that you would have never connected with them otherwise?
I know.
I got a lot of buddies, a lot of fuckers that hell, I've been drunk talking about God with them. I've been sober as a judge talking about God with them. And I think they feel more comfortable talking to me about my faith, even if I am liquored up, which is so bad. But I think that they feel more comfortable talking to me about it because they can relate with me about it instead of going to a church to where they're going to feel
Hmm.
awkward and everything the whole time. You become
Uh-huh.
relatable. And like
Yep.
when you're relatable, you can change somebody. They get you. It's not like I don't believe in therapists. Like I'm not knocking anybody that does. If you go to therapy, by all means, more power to you. I believe in support systems. I want to hear from somebody who's been in my shoes telling
Hmm.
me how I can get through the situation that I am going through because they have actually been through it.
Hmm.
Therapists turn me off for the most part, just for the simple fact that how am I going to sit there and look at you and you're all pretty and clean and obviously that your life ain't been that hard. Like, how am I
Hmm.
supposed to let you tell me how I'm supposed to feel?
I know. I felt that so many times. I go to therapy. I do talk therapy. Um,
There's nothing wrong with
but
it, by the way. I don't think it would ever
no,
work for me.
there's nothing wrong with it, but I do see where you're coming from because I felt those things many times, especially in my addiction. I felt like small, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I felt
Oh, yeah.
small in their presence having to talk about my problems.
I don't
I don't
like to
know.
be talked at. I like to be talked to or talked
Right.
with.
With
And I
yeah.
think that, like, even like, there's like, even growing up where I'm from, if you were an older person, like, of course, respect your elders and all that type of shit and everything. Like, I'm not definitely not saying be disrespectful. Manners is like my biggest thing. I tell my daughter all the time, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how pretty you are, I don't care how good you are at sports. You can have manners. You can say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. You can treat people the way that they treat you. And where I'm from, though, the older folks have always talked down to the younger people. They've always
Mhm.
talked at us, not to us. I don't like how soft this younger generation is now. Like, I don't even like how soft technically, I don't know how old you are, but how soft my generation is. Like, we're
Right.
not what the fucking baby boomers and all them were, these hardened, just badass
Hmm.
men and women. Like,
I know.
life was so much better when everybody was a badass, whether it was your grandma or your grandpa, right?
I know.
And now I do appreciate though that we are getting better at talking to our kids, are talking to our loved ones instead of talking at them or down to them. Because now we're really like we're figuring out mental health has been a fucking big deal this entire time and nobody knew it. Like, I do
Hmm.
appreciate that. But the other side of that is I don't like how soft fucking everybody is.
I
And
know.
I think that most of the therapists and a lot of the older generation, they're just talking down to us. And that does not work to me. I close the fuck off real quick.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get that a lot. I like old people. I like their stories. I
Yeah.
like hearing their stories and their wisdom. But yeah, I don't like to be belittled by them.
Uh-uh. No, I was trying to explain last time we were in Nashville, we were doing a show and we were talking about how our grandparents treated us. And like me and these other two guys that are songwriters, shout out Justin Andrews and Ryan Nelson. That was a great show. You guys should go listen to it. Uh, we got on the subject to where like we all have tattoos. Our grandparents didn't have tattoos, so they fucking hated it. They could not stand that we
I
had
know.
tattoos. And we were like, what do you think their grandparents told them was just bad and evil? And I was like, that's easy. Like, they thought rock and roll back in the 50s and the 60s was the
Right.
devil. They thought that shit was the devil and they would be chastised by it. It's just you're never when there's that much age difference in people, you're never going to understand each other completely.
Hmm.
Like if my grandfather was still around and he saw all my tattoos, he would put me in the fucking grave. Like he would be so goddamn mad at me. But like his grandpa
My,
was probably the same way when he came home listening to fucking, you know, whatever that bop music they had back, the golden oldies and all that kind of shit. They probably thought it was the fucking worst.
my mom actually still talks about my tattoos that I got. She was over here, I think, like 2 days ago,
Yeah.
telling my son how, you know, things come and go just like tattoos do. I'm not trying to talk bad about your mom, but she tried to get tattoos because everyone wants to be different, but now everybody has tattoos and
Yeah.
it's different to not have tattoos. And I'm like, Mom, stop it.
Yeah,
Leave
well,
me
you
alone.
remind your mom, even though she sounds like an extremely nice lady, you remind your mom that at one point in time, her mom or her dad or her grandparents gave her shit about something. Like, I
Something.
don't know what it would have been. She probably was a teenager in the 80s, I'm guessing. So she probably
Mhm.
wore some dumbass clothes like everybody else in the 80s. And they were probably like, what the fuck are you doing? Aren't you supposed to go put on a poodle skirt right now and have your
I
hair put
know.
up all pretty and like a whole button up sweater or cardigan? Like, yeah, it's weird. Like we're never gonna get each other. It's just being able to talk to each other and be respectful to where like you
Exactly.
kind of get it better. Yeah,
Right.
it's hard though, dude.
It is. Really is.
I didn't realize you had tattoo. I was almost thinking that you
Uh,
probably didn't have any.
I have a sleeve here,
Okay, so I don't pay that much attention to your pictures,
and
obviously.
I have a bunch of tattoos
Okay,
actually.
well, I'm an idiot.
I have a
Uh,
bunch. I
yeah.
did a video on my TikTok of them. I showed my tattoos on TikTok.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
under
I try
one
not
of
to
my
be too
videos.
creepy at the stuff I look at, especially like of how do I put this? Uh I already come off like a pig a good bit of time when it comes to women. So like I try when I see somebody that like I like to work with or I think a lot of, I try not to sexualize that woman. So I just like usually if somebody's in a bathing suit or something, I usually like, okay, I gotta scroll. Like I'm not gonna pay too much time to this because my brain will go in the fucking gutter so fast because I'm a caveman. Like my brain
You you
has
just
not
sound like
developed.
a typical guy,
Yeah, but it's
honestly.
when you do this, the
I
most
know.
important thing is you have to make women feel comfortable. Like you can't be creepy, you can't be whatever. And like I say a lot of fucked up shit anyway. So I already like imagine most of the time somebody's like, oh God, he's fixing to hit on me. He's fitting to say something fucking that outlandish or crazy or whatever. And it's like if I do something funny every once in a while, it's took as a joke. If I was to do it all the time, it'd be
Right,
like, oh,
right,
he's fucking creepy, dude. I ain't doing shit with
right.
him. Yeah. This is like I was thinking about it the other day. This is like our like we're in like 5:25:30s worth of episodes. And I've yet to have a woman complain about me. And the
That's
majority of our
good. That's
shows have
good.
been with women. And I kind of was like, that's a fucking badge of honor, dude. Because I would imagine anybody would have been like, oh, he's definitely going to get some Me Too shit. Like, he's definitely going to be a problem.
I think
And
it's because you picked the right women to come on. You
yeah.
didn't.
Well, I don't like, and it's even whether it be somebody like you that just has an amazing story that's so inspirational, or it's somebody that does the OnlyFans stuff or whatever. Like it's literally where like I want to hear your story. I want to hear everything else about you. I want to know what makes you you, why you
Mhm.
believe in the things. Like I'm a big why guy to the fact that like if I ask you a question and you don't have like a deep answer, if it's a deep question, I'm gonna be like, oh, they're fucking stupid. Like they heard this one time and they're just regurgitating it. Like
Oh my
they
God.
don't have capability of thinking like their own thoughts.
Right.
And as long as I stay with y'all to where like y'all are capable of having your own thought process, you're intelligent or whatever, I'll be fine. Now you'll get one every once in a while that's just God almighty. I hope this is like,
Still
woo,
needs to live a little more life
yeah.
experience. I get
Somebody needs to
that.
keep the color crayons away from their mouth is what they need to
Oh
do
God.
because they're probably eating them. Like
Oh
it's oh
Lord.
man, dude. What so what's been new with you anyway? Like I've seen like you've done some shows and other stuff and everything. Like yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine everybody wants to hear your story.
Yeah, I have a few podcasts coming up. I'm going to be a keynote speaker at an event next month actually. I'm really nervous for that.
Where
It's my
at?
first time. It's in Texas, Wichita
Okay.
Falls,
That's
and it's
cool.
a Gold Star Parents Retreat.
Okay.
So it'll be a bunch of Gold Star parents who,
What is
all lost. It's parents who lost a child in the armed forces.
no.
So whether it was killed in action or soldier suicide or a military accident on base, parents of children who lost their lives serving. And so I don't know, I hope I do good enough
You'll be
to
fine.
resonate with them,
Oh, you will.
because I haven't lost a child. I don't know what that's like. Um, but I can sympathize with them. And then I do outreach support for addiction, people struggling with addiction, alcohol or drugs. I help find them resources, find rehabs for them, just all sorts of things, sober companionship, sober transport, things like that. So that's what I've been working on. I'm hoping to write a book soon. I don't know. I'm thinking of the title, and I just didn't want I don't want to talk about it too much yet because I need to I don't
You
have
gotta
a day where
manifest it,
it's gonna be
dude.
finished.
Gotta manifest.
I know, you're right. I do.
I had a
I mean,
girl.
I've said this about my whole life that I was gonna write a book. So
What's funny is I've said it too, and like literally we were just talking about this. So that the girl that was on the show before you are this week, Conway, that's her whole thing. Like she wants to write a book. And I've heard a lot of people say that, and even like myself. And then you start to think about like, damn, does anybody even want to hear my story?
I
Like,
know.
but then you got to think if you write it for you and you put it out there, it's going to resonate with people that are like you. Now, are you going to have a bestseller? Only time could tell. But if you have a bestseller, it's because there's so many people out there that needed to hear what you
Mm,
had to say.
hmm.
Otherwise, it might just be that one fucking person. You might have needed just to get it off your chest in a
Yeah, maybe you
therapeutic
needed to
way.
do it to heal. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would imagine it's probably about like anything, even with writing a song. If you set out to write a song, write a book, write a screenplay or whatever, and all you're thinking about is the end game of it, as far as the profit, as far as what the last page is going to be like, Like, and you already have like a predetermined notion of what you want out of this, I don't think it's ever good. I think you go into it just being overly honest and just
Right.
being it exactly what you want it to be. And when it's over and done with, I think that's when you have perfection to yourself. Like, it doesn't matter if anybody else thinks it is or not. Like, it is to you. And that's really what matters. You're creating art regardless of
Right.
what it is. And people that it need to read it or they need to know about it, I'll guarantee you it gets in their hands.
And I always wanted to write a book, but I questioned myself, like, who would want to read my story, like you said. But it wasn't until I started sharing my story on
Yeah.
TikTok, people would comment, you need to write a book, you need to write a book, like every time I shared my story.
Hmm.
And so it really stuck with me, like maybe I should write a book, maybe people do want to hear it.
Definitely. You definitely
So
should write one.
yeah, well, it's hard for me to, like, and I lived through my traumas and trials and tribulations and, the heartache and stuff. And I found recovery, not in just drug addiction, but with my mental health too, because I
Yeah.
struggle with my mental health. And it wasn't I don't know, I forgot what I was going with that. Lost my train of thought, but there was a point to it.
Yeah. You were saying how you struggled with your recovery, with your mental health, and
Yes,
how,
and so, like, I wanted to write a book about that so other people can know, like, I don't know, they're not alone, but there was something else I was going to say. There was a point to it. I'm sorry, Josh.
oh,
Uh,
I'm on, you know how much Adderall I'm on right now, just so I'll pay attention to this. Don't apologize. I'm
I
way
lose my
over
train of
prescribed.
thought. I swear, I think the Xanax, because that was my drug of choice, was
Yeah.
Xanax, and I would black out all the time.
Yeah.
I think it fucked with my memory and
Oh, it
stuff really
probably
bad.
did.
It did.
I'll tell you, since the last time we've done this show, and I would never tell anybody to do drugs. Never, ever would I tell someone to do drugs. But it is what you consider drugs, is what I'm about to tell you. There is one thing that science has absolutely proven that
Mhm.
repairs your brain. It's the only thing, and it's mushrooms, but
Okay.
microdosing.
Hmm.
If you have never microdosed, okay, it is not addictive or whatever
Hmm.
it is. You cannot get addicted to it. It is, I started doing it probably close to when me and you did our episode, like probably around this,
Hmm.
like I said, about close to 2 years. And my anxiety is so much better. My depression's damn near gone. Like, my anxiety used to be so bad that I could not let anybody else drive me going anywhere, especially like when I
Wow.
know it's like in a bad traffic area like Atlanta. I would have to be like white knuckled, hole in the steering wheel. I could not be out of control. Like, nobody else could drive me. Started doing all this shit or microdosing every once in a while. And it is so fucking good for you. Now, people drive me everywhere I go. Like,
Wow.
I'll tell you, there's a documentary. It's on Netflix. It's called How to Change Your Mind. You
Okay.
need to watch it. Everyone needs to watch it.
I'll look into that. I've heard of microdosing mushrooms. I've never tried mushrooms. Mostly because I was scared I'd have a bad trip or
Yeah.
something. But microdosing I know is different. But I've read about it, and it's weird. I used to have insomnia really bad.
Yeah.
And I used to have to take all different types of medicine the doctors gave me for it, and it would always make me groggy, and like lightheaded and stuff. I hated taking sleep medicine,
Yeah.
and they gave me like strong shit too. Well, after a while, that strong stuff wears off. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
last forever. Like, eventually you're just taking it and you get freaking lightheaded, and your tolerance is so high it doesn't even make you sleepy anymore. Just a little funny feeling. Well, once I found recovery, I went to my doctor and I told him I'm still having insomnia. I can't sleep. I can't fall asleep. And he told me to try marijuana,
Oh, yeah.
cannabis, because it's legal here in Florida. So I got my card and I started trying it. And it's so weird. My whole life, I never liked weed. Like, I
Hmm.
didn't like it to smoke it. I didn't like to be around it really. It made me paranoid. I passed out one time in 10th grade. I had a bad experience with it. Anyways, it was in recovery when I was in sobriety that it helped me. And I only smoke a little bit at nighttime, like a bowl maybe at nighttime before bed. I fall right to sleep. I don't smoke it during the day. It makes me real slow, I think.
So
But
you're using it for the intended purposes of using it. Yeah,
yeah.
like there's if people would actually do their fucking research on
Mm-hmm.
marijuana and on mushrooms,
Yep.
they thought mushrooms were the miracle cure all back in the 50s. In the documentary I was told y'all to watch, the How to Change Your Mind, they talk about it. The reason why marijuana and mushrooms were given such a bad name to where they were outlawed, where they were illegal, is because we can grow them in our backyard, and big
Mm-hmm.
pharma and all these
Mm-hmm.
other companies would have never made the fucking money that they made if grandma and grandpa would have been able to go in the backyard and grow their own fucking weed and their mushrooms. Cause I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally mushrooms are the only thing that refire synapses in the brain. They're the only
Wow.
thing that recover brain damage. There are guys now, there's several different documentaries out there about it, but there are guys now that have CTE from concussions and all that kind of shit. They're taking them to do psilocybin and ayahuasca treatments to where
Mm-hmm.
their brain is actually fucking repairing itself. The
I've heard of that.
my favorite metaphor of all of it is, since you were born, since I was born, everything that has happened to us negatively has created a fog around our brain. If you treat your brain like a windshield, all
Right.
this shit is clogging up that fucking windshield. When you start doing this stuff and it starts making you have self discovery and realizations, microdosing, by the way, not telling all y'all to go do anything more than 1,000 milligrams. That is a microdose. If you will do that and you'll do it the healthy way, it starts wiping away all that smut and all that fog on that windshield. And dude, it's insane.
Mm.
It's crazy to think how wired we are and why we're wired that way. And it's all because of every life experience that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you start realizing, like, hey, there's just as much, because we only focus on the negative. We never
Yeah.
focus on the good shit in our life. And this stuff makes you start realizing there's been way more good stuff that's happened to me, or I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like a bunch of us have had some really shitty days. You've had some extremely shitty days, and you've had to process those days, and you've had to get over the grief and work it out. But if you were to look at the time spent in your life, how old are you? You don't mind me asking?
34.
All right, you're
34.
34 years old. If you were to take every bad day in your life and even your addiction, like all those days, and I'm just going to guess here, like I'm just going to say 5 years out of your life, like you still have 29 years of good living.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start
Yeah.
looking at it like that, it's like, oh, this was just a bunch of bad days added up. This isn't a
A
bad
bad
life.
season. A bad
Yeah, you had a
season.
bad fucking, you had a bad chapter of your life. Who gives a shit?
Right. Right.
Everybody does, but you had 29 fucking good years of good living. And this stuff makes you realize it. And it's wonderful. Anybody that thinks that it's bad, mushrooms got the bad rep because you can trip balls off of them, but you have to do what's called a macro dose, which is 2,500 to 3,000 milligrams or more. Back when we were kids and people were like tripping off shroom tea and all this kind of shit,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know how many milligrams they were taking, so they were losing their fucking minds. Now you have actual psilocybin pills, you have mushrooms that they have the actual dosage to where you're taking medication. And it's
Right.
like if you take it like you're supposed to, it's wonderful. It's the best shit ever.
That's how I feel about cannabis too. It's been life changing for me, and I hated it my whole life.
Until I had a bad depression. I got broke up with, like, it was a bad breakup, like in 2020, 2019, somewhere there. That's when I started. I'd never done it until then. I never
Mm.
liked it. Same feelings that you had on it. But I was reading shit and I was like, oh, this is good for depression. This is good for anxiety. Started doing
Mm-hmm.
it. I was like, oh, I am a happy fuck. Like, yeah, like it's okay. This
I'm
shit will
not
get
happy
better.
fucked.
Like, this will get
Funny.
better. But
That's amazing.
well, tell everybody real fast before we get out of here, where they can find you at on social media, anything they can go listen to you on, all your social media handles and all that kind of shit.
I'm on TikTok. My handle on TikTok is not Natalee King. My handle on Instagram is Natalee King. I think it has 3 E's at Natalee at the end. It's kind of confusing. I'm on Facebook, Natalee King. And then also like I said, I do outreach support for drug and alcohol addiction. So if anyone, you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, reach out to me, find me on one of my platforms, and we can help you.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I'm proud of you. You look great. Everything about you, everything you put on social media is wonderful. One of the few people I actually keep up with that's been on the show. And hell, thanks for hanging out. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Josh. I enjoyed it.
Anytime. And folks, just remember, go download Gone for Good by Will Mosley. Go look up Miss Natalee on all her social media. Keep up with her. You'll be so happy. If you got anybody that's struggling today with mental health or addiction, please reach out. Let them know that you're there supporting them. Don't put them down. Be there for them. Help them get help. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my nice shit for today. I love you guys. I will see y'all later.